On an ordinary afternoon, 6-year-old Tom lines up his toy cars in a perfectly straight row for the 10th time this week, humming the same 3 notes, completely absorbed, and doesn't look up when his sister Lily calls his name. To someone watching from outside, it might look like he simply is not paying attention or is not interested in what is happening. But inside his mind, something completely different, far more organized and intentional, is actually happening in that exact moment. We are not talking about one single behavior today. We're talking about the real psychology underneath all of it. The actual way an autistic child's mind genuinely works. Not a checklist of symptoms, but the operating system underneath every single one. Here is the first thing worth understanding clearly. Autism is not a smaller or broken version of a typical mind. It is a different one, wired with different priorities, a different way of taking in the world, and its own kind of intelligence. Let's start with the senses, because almost everything else in this video builds on top of this one idea. Many autistic children take in the world at a noticeably different volume than everyone else around them, often without anyone realizing it. Sound, bright light, certain textures, even the ordinary feeling of clothing against skin can arrive more intensely than it does for other people. This is not oversensitivity for attention. It is simply how the raw data lands inside a different brain. That intensity hits the brain before a single conscious thought even has time to form around it. There is no decision happening in that moment, no choice being made. It is pure, immediate physical response, arriving faster than words or reasoning ever could. Now let's layer a different thinking style on top of that same sensory foundation. Many autistic minds are wired to notice small, specific detail before the big picture. The exact pattern on a rug, or the 9th car placed in a row. A typical mind tends to skim past those same small details, moving instead toward the general shape of things as a whole. Neither approach is wrong or better than the other. They are simply built, from the start, to notice different things first. Researchers sometimes call this intense focus monotropism, meaning attention pours almost entirely into one single channel at a time, rather than spreading thinly across many different things at once, the way many other minds tend to operate throughout an ordinary day. This is exactly why a special interest can feel like so much more than an ordinary hobby to your child. It can feel like an entire, fully built world your child has quietly constructed and genuinely lives inside, with real depth and meaning. Now let's talk about connection, because this is often where so many loving parents worry the most. Your child may not look you directly in the eye the way you expect. They may not chat about the weather the way other children do. They may choose to play quietly next to other children, instead of directly with them, side by side rather than face to face. None of that automatically means your child does not want real connection with the people around them, including you. It often simply means connection for your child does not have to look exactly like it does for everyone else in order to be completely, genuinely real underneath the surface. The shape is different. The depth of feeling underneath it is not. Many autistic children quietly build real relationships through shared interests, comfortable side-by-side presence, or careful, familiar routine, instead of relying mainly on eye contact and easy small talk, the way many other people naturally default to without even thinking about it. That is not a smaller or lesser kind of bond between you and your child. It is simply a different doorway leading into the exact same room, the same closeness, the same love, just reached by a slightly different, less obvious path. Here is something else genuinely worth understanding deeply as a parent. Emotions can feel absolutely enormous inside an autistic child, overwhelming in scale in the moment. The feeling itself arrives in full, immediate force, fast and total. but the specific words needed to describe that feeling sometimes lag noticeably behind it, arriving late, if they arrive clearly at all in that particular overwhelmed moment. That gap between feeling and language is not defiance, and it is not simply an overreaction to something small. It is a real, documented neurological mismatch between raw feeling and the words available to explain that feeling to someone else. This is part of why predictability matters so deeply to so many autistic children. A steady routine is not rigidity chosen just for its own sake. It functions instead as an anchor, something solid to hold on to when everything else feels uncertain. When the surrounding world already feels loud, bright, and unpredictable at the sensory level almost constantly, simply knowing exactly what happens next can be one of the only things that makes an ordinary day feel genuinely survivable and manageable. So, when your child insists on the exact same bedtime story in the exact same order every single night, or becomes upset when a plan suddenly changes at the last minute, that reaction is not stubbornness for its own sake. It is a mind actively trying to hold on to the one stable, predictable thing it can actually control, inside a world that often feels like it is happening to your child, rather than gently unfolding around them at a comfortable pace. Let's bring all of these separate pieces together now, because they're not actually separate at all. They form one single connected system, working together underneath the surface, every single day, whether anyone around your child fully realizes it or not. Sensory input can arrive too intensely, all at once. Attention narrows deeply onto whatever matters most in that exact moment. Connection quietly forms through different, quieter channels. Emotion surges powerfully before the right words can catch up to it. And routine holds this entire complex system steady, all at the same time, every single day, functioning almost like a quiet internal skeleton that keeps everything else from feeling like it is constantly falling apart around your child. None of this is a flaw waiting patiently to be fixed by anyone. It is a genuinely different architecture, doing exactly what it was carefully built to do, often working incredibly hard just to make sense of a demanding world. That world, more often than not, simply was not originally designed with a mind quite like your child's in mind, which makes the ordinary, everyday effort your child puts in every single day even more remarkable than most people realize. Here is something absolutely crucial every parent needs to hear clearly today. No two autistic children think in exactly the same way, or experience the world in exactly the same combination of these pieces we just walked through together. Some autistic children are intensely social in their own particular way, while barely noticing loud sound at all, yet still struggle deeply with even small, sudden changes to their expected routine or plan for the day. Some talk almost constantly about one single favorite topic in remarkable detail, while others communicate beautifully and clearly almost entirely without using many spoken words at all, relying instead on actions, gestures, or other creative methods. This is not simply one single mind we are describing here today. It is an entire wide spectrum of individual minds, each one combining the same basic pieces in its own completely unique and personal way, unlike any other child. So picture this small, quiet moment. Instead of another explanation, Lily kneels down carefully next to Tom's long line of cars, instead of asking him right away to stop lining them up and come play something else with her. She does not rearrange a single car, and she does not rush him along. She simply asks him quietly which car happens to be his favorite one today, genuinely curious, waiting patiently for whatever answer he chooses to give her. Tom looks up at her, really looks up this time, and begins explaining carefully, for the very first time all afternoon, exactly why that particular car matters so much to him, in surprising, thoughtful detail she never expected. That right there is real connection happening. It did not require eye contact first or small talk or any of the usual expected signals. It simply required Lily entering his world first, instead of asking him to leave it behind. Later that same day, Michael gives Tom a clear 2-minute warning before turning off the television, instead of simply switching it off without any warning at all, the way he might have done before understanding all of this. Tom's small shoulders stay relaxed instead of immediately tensing up and protest, because now he can genuinely see the change coming toward him ahead of time, with enough warning to prepare himself calmly, instead of being caught off guard. Sarah notices Tom growing quieter and more withdrawn just before a busy family visit, and gently shortens their planned afternoon instead of pushing through the entire original schedule the way she might have insisted on doing in the past. There is no meltdown at all that particular day. Just a boy who got exactly enough of what he could genuinely handle, and a mother who trusted what she was quietly noticing in him instead of second-guessing it. None of these small, quiet moments required fixing anything about Tom himself. They simply required the adults who love him most learning to speak his particular language a little more fluently, one small, honest observation at a time. Your child's mind is not somehow harder to love than any other child's mind. It is simply a mind genuinely worth learning the language of, patiently, honestly, one real observation at a time, without rushing the process. The more fluent you gradually become in how your own child actually thinks and processes the world, the less often you will find yourself anxiously guessing what they need, and the more often you will find yourself truly, deeply understanding them. That kind of fluency does not arrive overnight, and it does not need to. It builds slowly, moment by moment, the same patient way any new language is ever learned by someone who genuinely cares about being understood correctly. So here are 3 things worth carrying with you after watching this today. 1, your child's brain is not broken in any way. It is simply differently built with its own complete, internally consistent logic running underneath everything you see. 2, connection, emotion, and focus all genuinely look different inside an autistic mind. Not smaller, not lesser, simply different, arriving through their own particular channels instead of the more familiar, expected ones most people default to. 3, the more curious and patient you stay as a parent, instead of immediately jumping straight to correction, the more fluent you naturally become over time in understanding exactly how your own particular child's mind actually works. Every autistic child carries their own unique combination of these pieces, their own specific version of this psychology, and learning your own child's particular version is a lifelong, genuinely rewarding project, worth every bit of patient effort. There is no single universal manual for this, and there never will be one, because your child is not a general case study. They are a specific, real person, worth knowing deeply, patiently, and completely on their own particular terms. If this video helped you understand your own child's mind a little more deeply today, go ahead and subscribe. We break down the real psychology and science behind autism every single week, right here, so you never have to guess alone.